Hey everybody! Today we're going to talk about lunches, making them ahead of time, and how this will make your healthy journey so much easier. Let's get started! Alright, so first things first, let's talk about what we're going to be doing in this video. First I want to talk to you about why this is important. So lunches are one of those things that kind of get lost in the shuffle. I know personally, Matt and I wake up in the morning, we get a really great start to the day, we drink our Shakeology, best thing in the world, we eat our banana, and we get our day started. But when it comes to lunch, in that midday time, usually we're really busy. If Matt's at work or I'm working at home talking to all of you guys, we kind of tend to either forget to prepare or we forget to eat. And that just really kills our metabolism, let's be honest. So this is super important for us in particular because if we plan ahead, we have our lunches ready, we don't have to think about it. Matt, being out of the house, doesn't have to worry about, what can I eat while I'm out here? He gets the opportunity to have something healthy, something quick. He can just take our little container, pop it in the microwave, and voila, it's ready. So that's why this is so important, at least in our house. I mean, the end result is that we want to make our healthy journey as easy as possible, right? So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so what do I need to have for this? The next slide is going to show you all of the stuff that I use personally to make our lunches. I'm just going to go through one of the lunches that we make today, but I'm sure I'll make videos in the future that show you more of the options that we use for variety. How much time will this take me? Typically, I can make an entire week worth of lunches in about 45 minutes or less, depending on which option that I'm using for the week. The one that we're going to talk about today might take me about 45 minutes, but that's about it. And show me how. This is going to be completely about showing you all the steps I take to make lunches for a week in just one time of doing it. I don't have to worry about doing this every day. I don't have to take a lot of time every day. I just pop the container into the microwave and I go. So that's what we're going to be talking about today in this video, and I'm super excited. I hope you guys get a lot out of it. Before we get into talking about what we actually need to have to make these lunches for the week, we're going to talk about what's actually going into our lunch. There are three basic things that are going to go into our little containers for our lunch for the week, and one is a complex carb. This is going to be the smallest amount of what's in our lunch. For instance, today we're going to be talking about brown rice. We're going to be using brown rice, and we're going to be using about a half a cup of it. And that is not a big amount, but it's plenty. I know sometimes we hear carbs and we get scared. We hear all this stuff about limit your carbs, limit your brown rice, limit your bread, or whatever it is. But honestly, they have a great place in your nutrition plan. You do need these complex carbs. That's where you're going to get energy. That's where you're going to get extra calories, and that's where you're going to get a lot of things that you actually need for your body. So we're going to make sure we have carbs, but we're not going to be eating them too much or overeating them. Okay. Second, we're going to be having protein. And I think a lot of you might be surprised that this isn't the biggest little cog on the picture, but it's actually not the biggest part of our lunch. Today we're going to be talking about chicken. We're going to use chicken in these lunches, and we're going to use about 4 ounces. That's a great amount of protein, but it's not overwhelming. And as far as the biggest cog there, don't forget the veggies. Veggies are so important. That's where we get a lot of the good carbs. Even, yes, I know, don't be scared, there's some more carbs. We get lots of our nutrients. We get even some protein. We get lots of things from the veggies, so we're going to be using the most veggies. Basically, we're going to be using a whole cup worth of veggies in our lunches. So that's what's going in our lunch. So next, we're going to talk about what we're going to need to get started. All right, so based on what we're going to be eating for our lunch, these are the things that we're going to need to prepare the lunches for the week. Obviously, we need containers to put them in. You can see from the picture that the container we use is, a good sized container, has a good tight fitting lid, but it's pretty short, so it's easy to stack in the refrigerator. So look for a nice container that, they can be cheap. I think these were the Gladware containers you get in the same aisle as all the plastic wrap and stuff. Super cheap, but really great. We've used them for months and months and they still hold up. Next thing you need is your protein. These chicken tenderloins from Kirkland are the ones in the picture. I'm showing you these because you can get a very large bag of chicken tenderloins and not pay a very large price when you shop somewhere like Costco. So chicken tenderloins is the protein we're going to be using today. And veggies. These can be whatever kind of frozen veggies you like. These are a couple examples of veggies we might use at our house. The stir-fry vegetable blend is cool because you don't just eat the same kind of veggie. We've also bought things like the classic mixed vegetables that are in the picture, or sometimes we do something like green beans for the week. It doesn't really matter what the frozen vegetable is, just choose whatever your favorite is at the store. We also buy these in bulk at Costco because that makes life easier. Like I said, it's a lot cheaper. I think it's like $5 for the big bag of the classic vegetables. So you're not spending a lot, but you are getting a lot. All right, next, the complex carbs. We are using brown rice this week, so we have this giant bag of brown rice that we also got at Costco. This thing lasts us a couple months because we're only using basically 2 to 3 cups a week at a time for my husband and I to both eat lunch for the entire week. So, with that said, we have our complex carbs, and then to do all the cooking with, what do we need? We need a pot with a tight-fitting lid in order to cook the rice, microwave-safe container to cook the frozen veggies in, a baking sheet to cook the chicken. Foil is optional. I like to line my baking sheet so I have easy cleanup. I don't have to spend a lot of time on scrubbing the sheet. And then finally we need measuring cups to portion out your rice and veggies when everything's cooked. One thing I want to note is obviously this isn't a complete list. You're going to need an oven mitt or some sort of hot pad to get your pan out of the oven. Obviously use common sense, and there are other utensils or whatever you'll be using, but this is the basics. Alright, finally we get to the how do I do it portion. This slide is going to be all about just talking about how we actually do the cooking part, and then I'm going to make another slide that's going to show you basically how I package it all up and get it into the fridge. So, first thing, as soon as you're ready to even think about getting started, go and preheat your oven at 375 for your chicken. Now, some ovens vary, it might take up to 10 minutes or maybe even longer to preheat. So if you aren't quite ready to get started, but you're going to be soon, just go ahead and preheat your oven, finish whatever you're doing. Otherwise, if you're helping your kids with their homework or whatever you gotta do, go ahead and get that preheating so that it doesn't add to the time of your actual prep. So, preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the pretty standard temperature for cooking chicken. Luckily, the chicken, we can cook it directly from frozen. We don't have to thaw it. If you buy it in a different way, if you buy it already thawed, then you'll probably still be cooking it at 375, so just go ahead and do that. Alright, second, we're going to start our brown rice on the stovetop. Now, I put here 2 cups of rice, 4.5 cups of water will make about 4 cups of rice, enough for 8 lunches. Remember, we're only going to be using a half a cup of rice per lunch, so this is super easy. I say 4.5 cups of water instead of just the standard 4 cups of water because sometimes we can accidentally maybe dry our rice out a little. This will make it a more moist and, tender sort of rice. Once the rice and water start boiling, They'll cook for about 30 minutes. Now you'll see on the directions on your rice sometimes to add butter or add oil or whatever. I don't add any butter or oil. I don't think it's necessary. You can add a little bit of salt, but you don't really need much. It's just 1 or 2 shakes from your shaker, that's it. Okay, next, line a baking sheet with foil. This is purely for the easy cleanup. If you are adamant that you don't like to use foil, because of the possibility of any chemicals from the foil could bake into the chicken, that is completely up to you. It's totally your choice. So the foil is just completely optional. But once you have your baking sheet ready, whether you line it or not, just put the chicken tenderloins on it. Just spread them out pretty evenly. Estimate 2 large or 3 small tenderloins per lunch. Sometimes you'll look in the bag, a bunch of them look small, some of them look bigger. If you pick the big ones, they're probably going to cook, they're all going to cook pretty much the same, but they're probably going to weigh more. So our goal here is about 4 ounces of chicken. So if we're going to use large ones, it's probably about 2, and small ones is probably about 3 tenderloins. Okay. Next, when your oven is preheated, which hopefully this could have been done before, you just put the chicken in the oven and you're going to bake it for about 25 to 35 minutes. If you're using more than 1 baking sheet, because maybe you're making lunch for 2 or 3 people for the week and you need more chicken, then it might take a little longer. Add more time. Make sure that your chicken gets cooked thoroughly to about 165, 170 degrees Fahrenheit. That's where you want to be. Alright, while the chicken and the rice are cooking, you're going to microwave your choice of your frozen veggies. Whatever your one of your larger microwave dishes is, put your frozen veggies in there, throw them in the microwave with a little bit of water. I just kind of take them to the sink and run a little bit of water over the top, not much on the spray nozzle usually, and just to make sure they don't dry out during the cooking process. So keep in mind though that we're going to use a whole cup of veggies per lunch. So you might need to cook veggies 2 or 3 times depending on how many lunches you're going to make. So if you have 2 large microwave containers, you might just want to go ahead and cook them both. I usually put my frozen veggies in the microwave for about 6 minutes for a full larger container, and they're done. So just keep that in mind. Alright, finally to the how did I do it phase of getting it into the containers and getting it into the fridge. First, I just put all my containers on the counter next to each other so that they're very convenient for portioning out all of your ingredients. So make sure your lids are handy, just put them to the side, but we're just going to scoop everything in first and then put all the lids on at the same time and get them into the fridge. So I scoop a half a cup of brown rice into the bottom of each container and I spread it out. On top of that, I scoop a cup of veggies on top of the brown rice in each container, make sure it's nice and spread out. And then last, put the chicken tenderloins on top of the veggies, 2 to 3 tenderloins per container like we talked about earlier. Optionally, as you see in this picture, I do like to cut the chicken up into bite-sized pieces for convenience later, but leaving them whole is perfectly fine. If you don't want to take the time to actually cut them up, don't worry about it. You can save some time there. You can just cut them up when you're eating them or however you want to do. Then next, you just secure all your lids onto your containers, stack them up, and put them in your fridge. It's seriously that easy. Alright, so just so you guys all know, I want to throw in some nutritional information here for you because a lot of you may already have checked out of the video, and that's totally cool because all the cooking and prep is already done. But I just want to really show you that this is healthy and this is good. When you look at the nutritional information for all of these items, you end up with a 340 calorie lunch, and that is like the perfect lunch. And this also allows you to, if you want to add something sweet, if you're like, man, I like to finish my meal with something sweet, and you want to throw an apple in there or an orange, then totally easy to do, doesn't add a whole lot of calories, and you still stay in a good range for your calorie intake. This also has 32 grams of protein in your lunch, and that is huge. That's amazing. You know, sodium is low. As far as your carbs go, there's a lot of carbs in vegetables and in rice, so yes, there are 47 carbs in here, but you also have 4 grams of dietary fiber, so it's great. The sugars that you find in the vegetables are the natural sugars that occur in vegetables. As you can see in the classic mixed vegetables there's a lot of corn in there. That has a lot of natural sugar, so don't fret about that. But this is an overall really great lunch because, you know, you stay low in calories, you stay on the healthy side of things, and it's totally all open book nutritional information for you here. Alright, well that's it. That is all it takes for me to do a whole week's worth of lunches within about 45 minutes time. If you have questions about this, or you want to know more, or you want to know what I do as a coach, then please feel free to contact me. Just remember, healthy doesn't have to be hard. You know, I know that we put ourselves through a lot of stuff. We're working out, we're trying to eat healthy, and we're trying to find the right things to do. This is just one thing that makes it a lot easier on you. You can prep your lunch for the week ahead of time, so you don't have to worry about it. You can just grab it and go. I think we can all totally find about 45 minutes, maybe an hour if you really need a little extra time, just to make your lunch so you don't have to worry about it for a whole week. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really enjoyed making it, so I will talk to all of you very, very soon. If you have questions, like I said, email me at mnjsfitness@gmail.com, or just comment on my blog post, comment on the YouTube video, whatever you're looking for help with. I can do my best to give you some guidance. I will talk to all of you very soon. Thank you for being here, and thank you for watching.